The Ravens are at the top of the AFC North, and Baltimore's best damn sports shows, Charm City B, is here to talk about it. Let's go.
Run it. Hands in the air now. Hands in the air. Run it.
So Justin's here on the table today. Jordan's not here, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the CCB fans feel about a Maryland native that's wearing a Rams jacket being on the table.
It's all tights and messed up.
You're going to have to deal with it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Whole leather jacket. People, this is authentic. I don't know what's going on here.
Fresh coming off a terrible loss to the 49ers. We don't need to talk about it. It's not the episode for that.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Ravens. So, right out the gates, a pretty offensively spectacular game, at least in my opinion. I thought they did great. You had Lamar Jackson passing for 236 yards, 21 for 33 through the air. No touchdowns, but where he made up for it actually in rushing. 19 rushing attempts, 152 yards, and a touchdown. Mark Ingram also had a touchdown. And the offense, spread the ball pretty well. So, of course, it's the Bengals. So, it is what it is. But, again, a divisional rival, it's nothing to take lightly. But, yeah.
The Ravens seem to be one of the last teams that can actually make this run-heavy approach work.
Yeah.
Because you think about, on average, teams that pass the ball more tend to be getting more yards per play and overall more success. But the Ravens really seem to be that last model of, no, we're just going to, scramble and, hand off the ball a shitload, and, it actually works.
Yeah.
And this was another example of that.
Yeah, a lot of teams still can't defend heavy against it, which works out for Baltimore. Right now, they're sitting as the number one offense in the NFL. And, for years past, who would have thought the Ravens would ever be the number one offense? They average about 450 yards per game, which is first in the NFL, 30.7 points per game, which is second, 245 passing yards, which is about middle at 14th, and 205 rushing yards per game, which is first. Now, the critics are still out there. They still complain Lamar Jackson's running too much. I say he's not. He hasn't been injured. He is, he's in the middle of the pack with the passing yards. So, I don't get, and we're winning. We're winning, and we're at the top of the division. I don't understand.
It is what it is, right? This is how the offense is going to be the most effective with him running the ball. So, you just have to calculate, is that worth the risk of getting the starting quarterback injured at some point? But like you said, he's shown no signs of slowing down or getting hurt. So far it's been good. So that's, but I will say, as far as these numbers for being the number one offense, we have to take into account that a lot of that damage was done against the lowly Dolphins.
Yeah. All right.
So,
it's true. It is true. And, like I said, we got to see how this train keeps moving. But going back to the run-heavy Ravens, I definitely, if you look at college and you look at a lot of quarterbacks nowadays, they're more or less dual threat. The pocket quarterback, pocket passing quarterbacks, they're a slow-dying breed, I think, honestly. You've got people like Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, who's arguably probably one of the best NFL players right now. Of course, Lamar Jackson, who's probably more run than pass. But, these guys are out there getting injured every week. So, there's got to be something to it. And with an offensive line like the Ravens have, it makes more sense to have a quarterback that can run, because he virtually has to run for his life almost every other play. If Joe Flacco was back there right now, what would be going on?
It would probably be a very mediocre-looking team, to be honest, with Joe Flacco back there, especially given... he hasn't taken the Broncos anywhere.
No, not in the least bit, actually. It's actually been quite sad. But, we suit up against the Seahawks this week. Big news, actually. Ravens acquiring your boy Marcus Peters for Kenny Young. I think that's a big pickup. Our secondary has been battered this season, 100%. And we need him against a quarterback like Russell Wilson, who's having a very good season so far.
Well, before I get into this, tell me more about your impression of Kenny Young, because you've been watching the Ravens for a while and you've seen what he's done. What do you think about him?
So with Kenny Young, he has a lot of talent. He's young, for example, not just with the name. So we've only seen glimpses of him, but when he came in last season, I remember when C.J. Mosley got injured, he came in. He was a pretty I think he showed that he could potentially be a starter in the NFL one day. Now, obviously, the Ravens had to pick up a few veterans. They have Wasser back there in the middle, so it was getting pretty, crowded back there. So I don't think losing him hurts us as much as it helps you guys. Like, I think, honestly, you guys are getting a pretty decent young linebacker.
I mean, my impression was that it was kind of a risky move by the Rams because I think Peters is more of a proven player. And I guess it's like you said, they're kind of chasing upside here, hoping that he's going to pan out and be that really reinforce the linebacking core.
Now you say that because here's the thing. You guys just picked up Jalen Ramsey. If you weren't aware, you guys just picked up Jalen Ramsey. You guys literally helped us a little bit, and you guys gained so much. You got a young linebacker. You have Jalen Ramsey in, and if he doesn't bankrupt you guys when he needs to be resigned, you have a pretty solid cornerback going forward.
Well, you make a decent point.
I mean, right before that trade, the whole rigmarole came, yes, it looked like, oh, God, we're losing a Pro Bowl caliber cornerback, in return for a young, linebacker that's unproven. But, yes, about an hour or so later, you get Jalen Ramsey, who Baltimore fans I know were dying to have. Now, of course, you guys did lose. Lost a few draft picks, 2 first rounds, and I think it was a 5th. So, I mean, there is some questions there. But, again, you get Jalen Ramsey. He's still young. He's arguably one of the best corners in the NFL. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm not really a big fan of, trading a bunch of draft picks to get a guy you're going to have to pay a high salary to.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess this is just a sign of the Rams want to try to push for another Super Bowl appearance now rather than
build that
call it a bust season at 3-3. So
yeah.
I can't really fault them for wanting to be competitive.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what I was saying about, we just picked up Marcus Peters, and again, he joins Marlon Humphrey, Earl Thomas, and Jimmy Smith whenever the hell he gets back. So, I mean, he helps a secondary that's missing a few pieces. And against Russell Wilson, number one, we're going to have to get a better pass rush. I think that's going to be the most important thing. Contain the quarterback, get back there, and make plays. But it is a good security blanket when we know we have at least, a few Pro Bowl caliber players back there now to shut shit down.
I'm kind of befuddled by what the Seattle Seahawks try to do with their offense sometimes, although they are 5-1.
Yeah, it's working.
The thing I don't understand is, they wanted to be such a run-heavy team, but yet they paid Russell Wilson this massive contract.
Well, Russell Wilson can run. I mean, he can run, so...
Right, but I felt like they came into the season wanting to be that team that, gives their running backs, 30-plus carries a game.
True. Yeah.
So I don't understand, but I think what they're finding is that, they're being forced into situations where they have to rely on Russell Wilson. I think that's going to be one of these games. I think they're not going to be able to run the ball much against the Ravens, and they're going to have to let Russell Wilson do his magic. But I think with this game, what's going to be so tough for the Ravens is that this is not an M&T Bank.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to rattle the offense as easily, and so the defense is really going to have to step up in this one.
And Seattle's a tough place to play. I mean, again, even outside of just the fact you're flying across the country to play, it's going to be an interesting week for the Ravens. Do I predict them winning? Yes. I think if the offense can show up and if the defense, we can put together some type of consistency, I think it could be upset season. Because here's the thing. The big tests for the Ravens are going to come in the next 2 weeks. We play the Seahawks, get a bye week, then we play the Patriots. A gambling man would say you're probably not going to win both. I think if any game we're going to win is probably going to be against the Seahawks, if I had to pick out of the two. Now, I'm hopeful we could win both of them, but realistically, I think, honestly, this is probably going to be a better game for the Ravens than against the Patriots.
I think this is going to end up being a coin flip scenario, kind of like the Chiefs game was, where you came into it thinking all right, either team could win this one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I want to see the Ravens win, obviously, but it's tough for me to really say they're going to.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really close game, and with both teams having a legitimate chance of coming away with a win.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's going to be a great game, but I think it all comes down to, and who I think is going to have the biggest impact, the game ball goes to Lamar Jackson, who I think is going to be the X factor this weekend. Last weekend, obviously, as we said earlier in the show, 238 yards through the air, 21 for 33. But where he really made an impact was on those 19 rushing attempts, 152 yards and a touchdown. And these were some beautiful runs. Yeah, big ups to him. Hopefully, he can have another big game because the Ravens are going to need it. All the momentum's in our hands, hopefully, if we can win. But that does it for our show. Thank you, Justin, for coming on here, helping us out for Jordan. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We got some more UFC videos coming this way. A couple of updates on the new project we're working on Instagram. If you follow us there, yeah, take care.